Colonel Graham.
Thank you, Captain. NATO partners are reducing their spending regarding defense in general. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
How many NATO nations spend 2% of their GDP on defense?
Senator, the answer is 2 or 3, I believe. Estonia does.
2 or 3. So that's a dilemma for us, because as you look over the next coming years, the capabilities of our NATO partners are diminishing, not increasing. Is that fair to say?
In the ground side, yes.
Yes, sir.
The UK is improving their Navy, but the capacity is small.
Same for the Air Force?
Yes, sir. The problem is a capacity problem for our traditional allies.
Okay. So what will we be spending on defense at the end of sequestration? What percentage of GDP will we spend on defense? What's the estimate?
I believe it's about 3%, Senator.
I think it's 2.3. Can you do me a favor and check among yourselves and send us, if you can find agreement among the 4 of you, the number that the military views that we will spend on defense relative to GDP. Then also add into that letter the average the nation has been spending on defense, let's say since Vietnam. I think that would be very instructive to the committee to understand the true effects of sequestration. I believe it's around 2.3%, and that's about half of what we normally spend on defense since Vietnam, but I could stand corrected. Just let us know. Have each of you talked to the President about this problem with sequestration?
We have, Senator.
All of you?
Yes, sir.
What does he say?
The conversations that we are having, I think as you see our submission of the 16 budget, you'll see that in fact our budget is well above sequestration, and that's a budget that we have worked with the President. So I think you would see that he believes that the Department of Defense cannot operate under a budget of sequestration. Has
he suggested a solution to replace or repeal sequestration beyond the 16 budget? The answer is...
Not to us, Senator.
Okay. Does he seem upset when you mention to him the consequences of what the Congress has decided to do with his signature?
I think the discussions that we've had with the President, he understands the challenges we have. He understands the security environment. He understands the pressures that is being put on all of our services. And I think...
but has he submitted a plan to you and say, I understand what you're telling me, this is unacceptable, as Commander-in-Chief, here's how I intend to fix it? Has he suggested such a plan to any of you?
I'm not aware of one directly, sir.
And I don't mean just to beat on the President. I think that applies to us too. We're the ones that created this mess. The President signed the bill, so, you know, it's not just fair for me to comment on the President. The Congress is in the same boat. We don't have a plan, but Senator McCain does credit as challenging some of us on the committee to find a plan. Mr. President, help us. We can't do this by ourselves. We're going to need the Commander-in-Chief to weigh in and inform the American people that the sequestration cuts are unacceptable, not just on the defense side. Are you familiar with the foreign operations account under the 150 account, our foreign aid account? Are y'all familiar with what we do, the State Department, other agencies? Do you agree that that's a vital program in terms of national defense, all of its own?
It is.
Have you looked at what happens under sequestration to our ability to be engaged in Africa to deal with malaria, with AIDS, and a variety of other healthcare issues?
I have not, Senator.
Have you, General Odierno?
We have, through our commands, understanding the cuts and what that could mean to stability.
Well, you need to take a look, because the military has been the strongest advocate for a robust foreign assistance account. If you think sequestration is a problem for you, you ought to look at what it does to our State Department. Having said all of that, Do you all agree that once we get sequestration fixed and right, whatever that turns out to be, that we should reform our benefit, pay, and compensation packages to make the military more sustainable?
Yes, Senator, because if we don't, regardless of sequestration, we would have to take significant cuts in our capacity.
Do all of you agree with what the Army just said?
I agree, Senator.
So would you urge the Congress to look at this commission report seriously on pay and benefit reform?
So I would urge them to look at it seriously, but not having get into the details of the report itself. I'm not sure the merits of the report at this point.
Okay, nor am I, but I would just suggest that we need to look at reforming pay and benefits, be generous but sustainable. As to the Marine Corps, what is your infrastructure account looking like, General Dunford?
Senator, we're programmed for about 70% of the DOD recommended amount against our infrastructure. Because of OCO over the last couple of years.
What does that mean to the Marine Corps?
What that means is we had an unprecedented $8 billion military construction program over the last few years. And what will happen over time is that we won't be able to properly maintain it. That'll mean there'll be mold in the barracks. That means that the barracks will not be maintained at a rate where they're suitable. That means our ranges won't be properly sustained. Those are some of the impacts.
Do the other services have similar concerns?
Absolutely. We have taken significant risks, sir.
Will that affect retention and family quality of life?
It'll affect family programs, it'll affect quality of life, and it'll affect the ability to train the way we need to train.
Thank you all.